yet another beautiful day in the UK quarantine. We're in national lockdown, everything's going ace. Welcome to the world's most uneventful YouTube channel, and I'm here to review Mattdoesfitness's book. So I'm a little bit late because it's been released actually not that far away, 2 weeks ago, maybe to 3 weeks. And I thought, as an ex-English literature undergraduate, it's just my duty to review this book. And yes, I did it. I did English literature at UCL. Oh, imagine. As you can see, there's a lot of sticky notes, but this won't be a long review because I'm not going to go into detail. I don't want to discredit Matt and his work. If you want to read it, go and buy it. I've divided this into a few categories. So we've got accessibility, usefulness, highlights, and is it actually worth buying? Let's start with accessibility. So the first thing that really jumped out at me is the question, who can read this book? So just in terms of the font, it is quite a large font. So I enjoy that about my books because I'm a little bit thick and my eyes get tired. And then there's who can actually read and understand the information. So if you've watched any of Mattdoesfitness's videos, he's very charming, he's quite funny, he's got a weird dry sense of humour. And it's written in exactly the same way he talks, like the weird deadpan jokes, the comparisons, calling everyone a weirdo. It's written in exactly the same way. The sentences are super short, so I sometimes find it hard to concentrate on really long sentences. So I really enjoyed that. The fact that you can just read it. It reads almost naturally. It reads in the way he talks. There is not that much science. So if you don't want to delve into the depths of fitness and nutrition and RPEs and percentages, this is the book for you if you're just starting out. Then we've got usefulness. Who should read this book? I sound like my old friggin' English teacher. So first, I'd just like to point out that this over here is not a how-to manual. It's not a manifesto on weight loss. It's not like the bodybuilding Bible or anything like that. There's no straightforward linear path that he suggests you should follow. If you've been going to the gym for a while, or if you're quite engaged within the fitness world on the internet, then I don't think you would derive that much groundbreaking scientific information from it because there's really not much in it. He does outline certain key principles: progressive overload, then consistency within nutrition and progressive overload. Then what was it? Yeah, there's some tips on generalized supplementation and I don't know, taking vitamins and stuff like that, but there's no general how to. That's the one thing I really, really liked, is that he places the responsibility on you. So he doesn't specifically tell you what to do. He doesn't tell you how to progressively overload. He tells you how he did it himself, but he doesn't tell you how to do it. That's another factor that I really liked. And I think if you're just at the beginning of your fitness journey, or you want to start but you're not sure how to, I think this book will give you the general guidelines on how to build your own program. It won't give you a program, but it will give you the tools you need to build your own. Highlights. So this is just something that I found useful or interesting. Might not be a highlight for everyone, but one, I like how he actually teaches you how to find your BMR. Not using the endless calculators online. They'll just give you a number out of their arse. But I don't know if I'm allowed to show this for legal reasons, but I'm sure a quick peek won't hurt. So here, in these grey boxes, he goes over the method of elimination in terms of finding your BMR. So you wake up, weigh yourself, track what you eat, say you set yourself a goal of 1,800 calories, and then if you see if you've lost weight or gained weight, and then through the process of elimination, you determine your BMR, which I think would actually be really useful for some people, because I know what a pain it can be to find your damn BMR. You eat a gram more and then you gain, you're like, whoa, panic. So yeah. Then another important aspect that I want to focus on is reverse diets. No one in the diet industry talks about reverse diets nearly as much as they should be talked about. Everyone is over-restricting. Everyone is scared of gaining fat, particularly women. The number of women, right, who are trying to lose weight, who are on 1,200 to 1,500 calories is just abundant. I am one of these women. I've been there. Like, I know that feeling, that fear of eating more. But in the mainstream media, we all know about Stephanie Buttermore and her all-in approach, which I think is actually a step in the right direction, although maybe not to that extreme. That's a whole different topic though. I've seen YouTubers like Paul Revelia talk about reverse diets. Other than that, I haven't really... maybe I'm not researching it enough. I'm sure there's like many less out there YouTubers, so more low-key YouTubers that are doing stuff on reverse diets, but I wish he'd actually make a video on them. Has he made a video on it? I need to do my research. But yeah, he goes into reverse diets and he basically talks about metabolic adaptation and how our metabolisms are in a constant state of flux. So if you eat less, your metabolism will drop back and you will expend less. Or if you eat more, then your metabolism will also adapt and expand more. And then obviously if you eat too much, you gain weight. Again, there's no rough guide on how to implement a reverse diet, but he does say that you have to be very accurate when you track a reverse diet, because inevitably you will gain a small amount of fat, which I think is an important point to highlight. Another really important point that I don't really see a lot of fitness books making is the importance of genetics, and Matt highlights this. He even brings himself into the story and he says that he goes into how he wanted to be an Olympic triple jumper, but then he didn't have the build to be that high level of an athlete. And I think that's such an important message to communicate to the younger generation, because we all look at people on Instagram, people on YouTube, wanting to look like, I don't know, Greg Doucette and Steffi Cohen and those kinds of people. But it's just so important to understand that genetics play a massive role, like a massive role. And Matt stresses how it's not a level playing field. He says, if you're training to look like someone else, it's kind of like training to be taller. You're only a certain height, you can't train to be taller. In the same way that you can't train to look like someone else. If they were born with an 8-pack and you were born with a 6-pack, you're not going to get an 8-pack through doing loads of crunches, because that's your genetic limitation. And I just think that's a really healthy message to send to someone. And that's what he said as well. You're not going to look like me if you train like me. You might have just bought this book because you liked his biceps, but it doesn't mean you're ever going to have his biceps. Sorry. And I just feel like in the fitness industry, the approach of, if you just get your nutrition right and you train hard and then maybe you take some drugs on top of that, you will look like an elite athlete or an elite bodybuilder or Mr. Olympia or whoever. But that's just not the case. And I wish someone told me that when I was younger. Something else I personally really enjoyed, if you don't know who Mattdoesfitness is or what he does or what his videos are like, this is probably completely irrelevant to you. But I really liked how he went into his own personal story. So for example, everyone knows Mattdoesfitness as the crazy calorie guy with the cute son and how they just eat like stupid amounts of pizza together, right? But I never knew he had an eating disorder. I never knew he suffered from disordered eating. Sorry if I baited him out, by the way. But he'll go into more detail into it in his book. But I never knew that. And I found that really interesting, his personal journey, PE teacher, then athlete and bodybuilding and YouTube and all of that. It's worth a read, I think. It's interesting. So, is it worth buying? If you're a fan of Mattdoesfitness, you probably already bought it, so I think it's worth buying if you like him. However, if you're looking for like an in-depth, insightful manual into his training progressions and his triple jumping secrets and any sort of magical secret to his biceps or to his shredded abs or whatever, you ain't gonna find it. I hate to say this to you, you're not gonna find it. This is not a manual, it's not a methodic, it's just, I guess it's just his story with a lot of helpful advice to people. Really easy read. I would have personally, like, it's not that I was looking for any secrets, but I would have preferred like more of Matt's scientific knowledge, because I know he knows he's got sports and exercise science thingy degree, so I know he knows, but he kind of holds back on it a little bit, and I would have preferred to see more science in it. But then again, this isn't a science book, it's not a manual, it's his story, so it's understandable why. I like how he goes on about his injuries and his struggles, his ups and downs. It's interesting to read. So if you're just starting out and you need a bit of a kick up the arse, then by all means, go ahead, buy it. But if you're looking to like find some secret or a how-to step-by-step plan, then this book is probably not for you. Yeah. So hopefully that should cover all of it.